Hello and welcome back to Weather or Not. I'm your host, Frank Gargione, joined alongside me by forecaster Luke Snyder. Now, Luke, we got 3 inches of snow here in State College this past Monday. Is there any snow in the forecast?
I don't think we'd be seeing anywhere near 3 inches of snow, but definitely can't rule out that possibility for a few flurries to creep their way on into the Pennsylvania area. Potentially that chance for some ice, some slick spots, maybe even a bit of sleet in that mixed precipitation as well.
You'll hear more from Luke in his forecast, but now our Nature in the News.
Many people start their day with a freshly brewed cup of coffee, but have you ever wondered what its impact on the environment is? While coffee isn't a huge climate polluter, it does emit greenhouse gases. The emissions from growing coffee beans are often the biggest contributor to your drink's carbon footprint. Cutting emissions from coffee at this stage of production has been challenging, and it's even more of a burden to know your coffee bean's backstory when shopping at the grocery store. However, there are shortcuts you can take. One approach is to look for coffee certifications, such as those offered by the Rainforest Alliance or Fair Trade USA. Another way to cut down on your emissions is what you do in the kitchen. Weighing your beans with a scale and turning off your electric coffee machine when not in use can help you reduce your personal waste. So the next time you reach for that cup of joe, try and see what ways you can limit your energy and waste.
Visitors and residents near Hawaii's Kilauea volcano got a dazzling sight as the volcano's on and off eruption resumed last Tuesday, sending lava over 400 feet into the air for over 9 hours. This marks the 37th time the volcano has spewed lava since the beginning of its eruption back in December of 2024. The molten rock remained in the caldera of Kilauea inside Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, posing no threat to human life or property. The latest lava display was preceded by sporadic spattering and overflows that began the previous Friday. Each eruptive episode has lasted about a day or less, with days of rest in between. Kilauea is located on Hawaii's Big Island, about 200 miles south of Honolulu, the biggest city in the state. It is one of the world's most active volcanoes and is one of 6 active ones in the state of Hawaii. The volcano remains under an orange watch alert, with its north and south vents continuing to glow at night and emit fumes. According to the United States Geological Survey, continued inflation, glow from the vents, and tremor all indicate that another fountaining episode is likely.
In the past week, the people of Southeast Asia have been reeling from the devastation caused by Cyclone Domow. Following the catastrophe, communities are now joining forces to help rebuild their land better than ever. On November 28th, Cyclone Domow made landfall in Sri Lanka and induced flooding in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, leaving the current death toll over 1,300 people, with tens of thousands still displaced. Despite this disaster, civilians are banding together to help support one another and those who have been affected by Domow. Many local Christian organizations in Sri Lanka are helping find housing for displaced individuals and are offering their religious resources and facilities for anyone who wishes to participate. In addition, Sri Lankan actors and musicians are helping with the post-cyclone aid, fueling one of the country's largest community kitchens to provide meals for those in need. While the destruction is far from relieved, the empathy and closeness created by the people shows the true testament of community.
Sri Lanka closed government offices and schools last Friday as the death toll from floods and landslides across the country rose to 56, while more than 600 homes were damaged. The closing stemmed from heavy downpours and severe weather that flooded streets, homes, and fields, while also triggering various landslides across the country. More than 25 people were killed in the landslides in the central mountainous tea-growing regions of Badulla and Nuwara Eliya, which is about 186 miles east of the capital, Colombo. Another 21 people were missing and 14 more were injured in the same areas, according to the government's Disaster Management Center. As the weather conditions grew worse, the government announced the closings of all government offices and schools due to safety concerns. Heavy rains caused most reservoirs and rivers to overflow, forcing authorities to stop passenger trains and block roads. Military personnel even had to be used as search and rescue, as an Air Force helicopter had to save 3 people stranded on a rooftop that were surrounded by floodwaters.
Near record low temperatures are in store for many this weekend, alongside some flakes for a few of our friends throughout the state. Looking at Friday, we are going to be seeing some rain heading to our south. We have a coastal low that's beginning to slide its way off the eastern coast. But as you move further up north, especially those higher elevations over West Virginia, we start seeing that transition from rain into that more iced and mixed precipitation. So definitely some slippery conditions for anybody traveling throughout the day on Friday. And just a little bit further to our north, looking at that southern tier of Pennsylvania, we are going to be seeing some of that more solid and snow-like precipitation expected, especially that southwestern and primarily the southeastern corner of the state. I think the Philadelphia metro region's going to be seeing that best chance of snowfall for us here in Pennsylvania. But we do see our next batch of snow quickly in the Great Lakes, quickly approaching over much of the northeast. We see those snow showers quickly make their way in on Saturday, affecting much of the western two-thirds of the state and that northern tier north of I-80 predominantly. And to be kind of a flip-flop situation where Philadelphia saw the snowfall on Friday, I think they're going to be the only place not really seeing much accumulation or precipitation expected on Saturday behind the secondary low pressure system, bringing in lots of that cooler and more chilly air as well. Down to our south, though, our friends are still going to be seeing some of that liquid rain precipitation and that slight transition between rain and snow happening at the West Virginia and Pennsylvania border as well. But looking into Sunday, though, we do see high pressure begin to dominate the area, so looking at more of those calmer conditions. But despite this high pressure, we're still going to be seeing some cloudy conditions persisting as well for many. Chilly conditions, again, continuing up into the New England area as well as New York as well. Definitely looking at those below average conditions, not near record breaking like we're going to be seeing earlier this weekend, but definitely still something to be keeping in mind. Definitely keeping those jackets in and having those winter conditions yet again continuing for many into the weekend as well. But looking closer at this weekend, we do see a high of around 28 degrees, so about 10 degrees below average for this time of year here in State College. So definitely quite chilly and quite cold for many here. We're seeing that mix of sun and clouds in our sky. So not much sunshine is going to be making its way on through, causing these chillier conditions. But overnight, we do see some cloud coverage begin to decrease, allowing for a lot of that overnight cooling to occur as much of that radiation lifts from the ground and exits up into the atmosphere, causing such chilly conditions for us here in State College. Looking at a low of 19 degrees. Many people are potentially going to be seeing those daily low record temperatures being broken for their Friday night into Saturday morning temperatures. But for Saturday, seasonable conditions persist yet again with a high of 38 degrees and mostly sunny skies as well. And into the evening, around 24 degrees with cool and overcast conditions expected as well. Looking into Sunday, though, those seasonable conditions persist yet again with a high of 37 and mostly cloudy conditions continuing to close off the weekend. But up next, we have Jonathan Domow with a feature on the science of snowflakes.
I have here in the palm of my hand a snowball made up of approximately 25,000 individual snowflakes. And you've probably heard before that each snowflake is different and unique from all the others. But is this actually true, or is it just another wintertime tall tale?
Let's first see how they form. All snowflakes start out when an aerosol particle known as an ice nucleus is present inside of a water droplet. Once the droplet has frozen, it'll begin to grow in a supersaturated environment, which means the air is holding more water vapor than it can at saturation. The droplet grows through deposition of water molecules in the air, which means going straight from a gas to a solid without a liquid phase. Once snowflakes form, they can be categorized into one of 35 categories, ranging from simple prisms to fern-like stellar dendrites. While ice itself is clear, snowflakes usually appear white due to its reflection of the whole visible light spectrum. The most commonly recognized snowflake shape is the stellar dendrite, which is used most often in media and marketing. However, the most common shape formed and found is classified under the irregular flake type, characterized as extremely non-symmetrical and misshapen. Some snowflakes are simple geometric shapes, like the solid column or simple needle, while others are extremely intricate and complex, like the arrowhead twins. The range of sizes can vary tremendously, with the typical length of a snowflake being between 0.02 and 0.2 inches, equivalent to the length of a human hair up to the width of a penny. Lake effect snow is known for creating snowflakes half an inch across or greater when conditions are just right. Ideal conditions for large snowflakes has cold air being blown over warmer lake water and the presence of clumping in which two smaller snowflakes stick together, morphing into a single larger flake. The largest snowflake ever measured was 15 inches wide and fell on January 28, 1887, in Montana. What kind of flake they become depends largely on the temperature and humidity during its initial formation. For example, a temperature of 27 degrees Fahrenheit leads to thin and flat flakes, while 18 degrees Fahrenheit creates columns and needles. The smallest snowflakes are created when the temperature is well below freezing. Additionally, snowflakes are never perfectly symmetrical, despite being commonly depicted as such. But in terms of looking exactly the same, unlikely. Mainly due to there being 10 quintillion water molecules present in one snowflake, which grow at different rates and in different patterns. While 10 quintillion is a very large number, it pales in comparison to the estimated 1 septillion snowflakes estimated to fall in just the United States in a single year. For reference, there are 200 sextillion stars in the observable universe, which is a 200 followed by 21 zeros. 1 septillion is a 1 followed by 24 zeros. So has there been enough snowflakes to fall for a repeat to have occurred? The answer is probably not. Even amongst the septillions of flakes that have ever fallen, no matter how similar they may look to one another to the naked eye, molecularly they remain vastly different and therefore unique.
For every snowball thrown, snow fort made, and snowman brought to life, each one is created with 100% unique, different snowflakes and can never be recreated. For Whether or Not, I'm Jonathan Domow.
Well, we saw our first bit of chill enter the region as we headed into the weekend, and it's looking like it's going to continue into our work week ahead as well as look into our extended forecast. But first, recapping the weekend real quickly, we did have pretty overcast and cloudy skies persist for many on the weekend. We saw a high of around 28 degrees for Friday, but temperatures quickly dipped into the upper teens overnight around 19 degrees. But seasonable temperatures and conditions did come through on Saturday, looking at a high of around 38, low of 24, about on average for this time of year, just a few degrees below what is seasonable for early December here in State College. But Sunday evening is when we really saw that cool down begin to take place. Seasonable highs yet again, but those overnight lows dipped into the middle teens and potentially even lower double digits and single digits for some throughout the rest of the Commonwealth as well. And that cool down is expected to continue into the beginning of the work week as well. Monday and Tuesday are looking like the coolest 2 days out of the pick of 5 for our work week ahead, looking in the upper 20s for Monday and lower 30s for Tuesday. Now, Tuesday and Wednesday, we do see some of that precipitation expected to make its way into the area. Now, it's a little bit unclear exactly what it's going to look like, if it's going to be that solid snow precipitation or more on the liquid and sleet side. It's going to really depend on what the upper level temperatures look like throughout the day on Tuesday and Wednesday, especially on Wednesday. It's going to be the warmest day of the week, I'm thinking, around upper 30s, around 38, 39 degrees for many here on Wednesday in State College. But so with that higher temperature, we're definitely going to be seeing some more of that liquid and mixed precipitation expected for many here. So maybe not quite as many snow flurries, a little bit more of that melted slush as we encounter here, the classic Pennsylvania slush that many of us are attuned to. But on Thursday and Friday, temperatures do again slowly begin to dip back down below seasonable. The entire week ahead, not many temperatures are expected to approach average for this time of year, typically around lower 40s, upper 30s for early to mid-December here in State College. So definitely a bit on the cooler side as we continue through about a bit of a December dip in temperatures. But Thursday and Friday, cloud coverage is expected to build back in, not allowing much sunshine to peek on through. But up next, we have your Weather Whiz quiz answer.
And the answer is B, 1899, where the minimum temperature was negative 20 degrees. Now, Luke, I don't think we'll be seeing anything that cold anytime soon.
Definitely not. We're going to be seeing some chilly conditions, but by no means do I think we're going to be approaching those double-digit negative numbers, at least not for right now. Give it a month, you might be seeing some of those cooler conditions appearing around mid-January, but for right now, we're not going to be there yet.
Thank you. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this week's show. Join us next week for another edition of Whether or Not, where it will be our last show of the semester, saying goodbye to this guy right here. Have a good one.